Here are the review questions for the arrays test. What is the output of the code below? We have the array. The other equals array. Now, other got past the reference, the memory location of array. So these are kind of in tandem with each other. These two variables are pointing to the same array. So when you change array 1 to 5, so the 8 changes to the 5, the other array changes as well because they're sharing the reference to the location. They weren't passed. Other was not passed all these values, just the location. So other 1 should also be 5. We have this array sort. It sorts this. It goes 3, 4, 7, 8, 10, 11. And so when you go length minus 1, that's getting the very last number in the array. So that'll print out 11 because 11 will be moved into the last spot when the array is sorted, so E. Consider the following instance variable in incomplete method. The method go should return the difference between the smallest and largest values in the array. The array will contain values that range from min to max. All right, so we have the instance variable, public int go, difference. So it's going to return the difference between the biggest value in the array and the smallest value in the array. Which of the following code segments shown below could you be used to replace blank so that method go will work as intended? So we have small equals 0 and big equals 0. Well, that's not going to work because what if the smallest value in the array was 10? Well, when you go through the code, 0 is less than 10, so it'll never get that value that is 10 as the smallest. So you can't start your variables with 0, not in this program. So on number 2, we start small with the very biggest value. So the very first value in the array is guaranteed to be smaller than the maximum integer value. Big is set to the very minimum integer value we could possibly have. That way the first value in the array is guaranteed to be bigger than the smallest possible integer. If the array that we're looking at, if the value is less than the smallest value, make the smallest value equal to the array. Number 2 works. Let's look at 3 here. It sets small to biggest, biggest to smallest, and it loops through the array. If the array that we're on is bigger than the smallest, make the smallest equal to 8, and that's backwards. So 2 is the only answer. Which of the following fill blank in method copy values? Method copy values should return a new array that contains the first count values from array to num. So in other words, we want to copy maybe the first 5 numbers from array to num. So we create the new num right here, the new array num. For int I equals 0 to count, I equals array I. And so that one seems good. A is actually the right answer, but why are the others not the answer? Well, if you set I to 0 and J to 0, but you only increment I, then J is staying at 0, and what you end up doing is you're replacing the 0 index on nums over and over and over again. Here, let's see. We don't want to go. We'll get an out of bounds unless the count is the exact same number as the number of values in an array, because it'll just go through the entire thing. Well, we want it to stop when we get to a certain count. So maybe we only want the first 3 values, but it's trying to do all 10. Same thing here. Now it is counting. J is incrementing. Now why is this bad? Well, it's going to go through all of the values. It won't stop. So there's no stopping it once you hit the count. On this one, I is not being incremented. So you keep replacing with just one spot. Which of the following lines would correctly fill blank in the method get stuff to return int array named return array? Well, you created return array, so that's what you want to return. Return array, D. Which fills the blank for summing the odds? Int z equals 0 for int value array. So what do we want to do? We want to fill. We want to sum all the odds. If z mod 2. No, z is, what is z? Z is the sum. We don't want to see if the sum is odd. If value mod 2 does not equal 0. I think it's B, isn't it? Because we want to add all the odd values. So if value mod 2 does not equal 0. What's this? Consider the finances variable. Sum up all of the values in array. So we're gonna add up all the values in array, and we have double sum and return sum. That's it. So 0 to length and add up all the 1 seems very reasonable. I equals array length minus 1 down to -1. Well, it'll hit 0. It won't actually, when -1 makes it stop. And we're going backwards. 2 seems reasonable. I equals 0 to array.length and add all the i's. No, we don't want to add 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We want to add the values in the array. So 1 and 2 are good. D. Double amounts, if amounts. Let's consider the following. What will the method check return if past the array? So double amounts equals these values. If amounts.length equals values.length. Where's values? Here's values is what's passed. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this will be true. That's true. So it returns 0. E. Int array equals all this. Int plus array. Oh, this will be, let's see, array 0 is 1. Then array 1 is 2. Then array 2 is 3. And array 3 is 4. So it returns array of 4. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that returns letter E. Which of the following swaps elements 0 and 1 in array? 1 does not, because you lose one of the numbers. I wonder if I can draw that out for you. Let's see. How about we go notepad? I just need a notepad for this. So 0, let's see, we have it's 7 and 8. So it says 0 becomes 1. So 0 becomes 8, and the 7 is lost. So we lose the 7. So that's not going to work. On 2, save. So save is equal to 0, 7. Array, so we have save. And right now we have 0 is 7 and 1 is 8. So save is 7. Array 0 becomes 1. So this becomes 8. And then I'm looking at number 2 now. Array 1 becomes save. And they are swapped. So that's good. All right, number 3. Remember, we start out with 7 and 8 in the array. Array 0, add array 1. So this becomes 15. Now array 1 over here becomes 15 minus 8, which is 7. And now array 0, we're going to minus out 7, and this becomes 8, and it went from 7 and 8 to 8 to 7. So it looks like 2 and 3 work. 2 and 3, letter D.